If I could dream.
Are you a small business owner? Has business slowed down? How is your website? Does it look like it's seen better days and those are behind it? It's time you fix it with SciPipe Designs. My friend Johnny that you've heard on this show each week, yeah, that's him playing in the background, is my go-to web designer that understands how to get your website and web traffic where it needs to be, and that's making you money. If you want personalized service at a much lower price than those big companies out there, check him out at sitehypedesigns.com. If you want a rockstar website to turn your business around, you gotta hire the rockstar. Just wait till you see my website coming soon. It's absolutely amazing. Contact Johnny at sitehypedesigns.com before it costs you even more money. Let's get that business turned around.
No, I'm never gonna leave you by the wayside. Not this time.
It's Around the House. When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to the Around the House Show, the next generation of home improvement. I'm Eric G. Thanks for joining me today. This is our midweek update. This is what didn't fit into last weekend's show and not fitting into next weekend's show. And this is the stuff where we do those updates, where any breaking news, things happening, and we try to get things clarified during the week that we can't hit into the show on the weekend. First off, man, I feel bad for the South. You guys have been just getting crushed by hurricanes. Another one coming in tonight. And I wanted to cover a few myths on social media that have been absolutely horrible and bad advice. First off, I saw yesterday all over, it went viral, for this little meme that was telling people to put their important things in their dishwasher when they evacuate so it would stay protected. Sorry, folks, that is not waterproof and it will not protect your stuff. Here's the thing, a dishwasher, people think, oh, it holds water in it, it's going to be fine. That's not how that works. First off, if there's any sewage backup, the chance of that coming back into the dishwasher under pressure through the drain line that usually doesn't have a cutoff valve is going to be an issue. That water will go back in there, fill it up, and you're going to have a problem. Why does it fill it up? Because a dishwasher has vents. If you sit there and put a dishwasher through the wash cycle, and then you had the heating element, and of course, you had a steam thing in there, any one of the ones that have the sanitation and drying, it would never dry. So there's vents. Those vents are meant to equalize the pressure between both sides. So guess what happens? Water's going to come in through the drain. Water's going to come in through the vents and anywhere else that there's a seal leak. That's why when you put too much soap in a dishwasher, it can push the soap out through the vents and out through the side of the seal because it's just not that good. So do not consider putting stuff in that unless you're putting it in bags and you're trying to contain it. Maybe that will do that. But to be honest, guys, don't put the valuables in the dishwasher. It's fake news. It's not going to work. And there's too many ways that you're going to put water in there and it'll probably keep it in there. So that's the thing. So eliminate the dishwasher myth. It's fake news. Don't let people do it. It's not going to save you anything. And it's just going to give you a bad, false sense of hope. The next one is that there are people out there complaining about FEMA and people donating electric, I'm going to use the word electric because it makes a difference, chainsaws to people in Western North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, stuff like that. And my argument is, great. They should be donating those. Get them out there. Because here's the thing. Gas chainsaws work great. Battery-powered chainsaws work great as well. And we can have a huge debate on what works better and what's easier for people to use. But here's the thing. When you don't have gas coming into town and you don't have two-cycle oil coming into town, batteries, it's going to be a little bit easier to find power. Maybe you've got a farmer in there that's got his truck running or a welder or a generator, or you've got a natural gas generator that's working great. You're most likely going to have an easier way, or solar, to find something that's going to get you power to charge that than you are finding the fuel to run it. So I wholeheartedly support them putting out 60 volt, 40 volt, whatever those are, battery powered chainsaws. People have power in certain spots and they have generators or solar. So that's going to be not a bad deal. Somebody could have their F-150 charged up or a vehicle that's got a plug-in. There's a lot of ways to do this. So let's not go beating on people for dropping off stuff out there that could help them out. My bigger concern is the people that aren't getting help. And those are the ones that you're seeing out there. And it's a good lesson for us to all learn. Not that the people of North Carolina or Western North Carolina and the South have done anything wrong. But if you're not prepared, it's going to get tough out there. We're seeing there's communities that haven't had anybody come help them in 2 weeks. So that should be our warning to ourselves that not slamming on the government, but guess what? They're not going to be there to bail you out for not being prepared. So that shows you that maybe 2 weeks might not be enough if you're in a rural area or in an area where they can't get help to you. So maybe if you have 2 weeks of food, maybe you should have 3. You see where I'm getting at? We should watch this as our canary in the coal mine because so many people rely on someone else to come give them a hand in times of need. When everybody around you for miles and miles is in that same position and you're cut off from the outside world, 2 weeks is a long time. And the government, like everything the government does, is going to be slow. So this isn't some big anti-government rant. I'm just saying, if you're depending on them, probably putting yourself in a bad position. So make sure you've got water, make sure you got food, make sure you got all that stuff. We've talked about this, but make sure you have the basics, your medication. Don't run to the last day on it. Make sure you've got enough and you're keeping those things fairly full so you are prepared no matter what. We're seeing some issues out there where people just aren't getting the help. And that could be any one of us. So something to consider when you're looking at that. Next thing here is as we're getting the second hurricane coming in, this is a time where we see a lot of people making huge mistakes. So be careful of carbon monoxide. Be careful of where you put that generator. If it's under the carport, it could be funneling into the house. It's in the garage. It's even a worse idea. So if you're in the future, if you're thinking about being prepared, take a look at Gen Tent. They're a tent that goes over the top of your portable generator. They'll keep it outside. You can keep it 15, 20 feet away from the house. And more importantly, it'll keep the weather off of it. And it's good up to about 75 mile an hour winds. So you'll be good to go there. Take a look at that in your preparedness kit so you can have it on there and you're good to go. I just keep mine on at all times. So just one less thing to do. You can sit there and put that thing on it in about 5 minutes and you're good to go. So take a look at Gen Tent. Not a commercial. They're not paying me to say this, but it's a great solution and it's going to keep you a lot safer. Do not be burning anything inside the house. No barbecues, none of that stuff. Wait for the weather to get better and then do stuff inside. But keep that generator well away from the house so you don't get carbon monoxide inside. And your carbon monoxide detector should be on battery power. So make sure they're in working order if you're running a generator so you know that you're going to be safe out there. Because that's one that is just needless deaths that we see. And every time, even here in my area, I sit there and see, wow, neighbors saved somebody in an apartment because they were running the generator inside the apartment. That's a quick way to die, guys. That's a quick way to die. So be very careful out there. Make sure you send this to your friends, just trying to keep people safe. And of course, when they say evacuate, especially down in Florida in the south with these hurricanes, if you're going to have 20 feet of storm surge coming in, 15 feet, the top of your roof is 8. I mean, you got 2 stories underwater. If you're up to 20 feet, that's a problem. You're not going to survive that. You can't even get on the roof of the house of a second story without probably running into issues. So I hope you guys are heating out there. The best advice, just to get out and grab the important stuff, grab the family. The rest of it can be built back someday, but just stay safe out there, guys. We love all you guys out there that tune into this show. And I just want to make sure that we all stick together as one big family and we can help as best we can. Now, one thing that we're going to see after all these the stuff happening in the South, and you're going to see in certain areas material shortages. Now, one thing that you see on the West Coast here, which is pretty common, most of our lumber and plywoods and stuff are regional, right? If we see wildfires on the West Coast and we lose a lot of homes, we'll see months later, we'll see some shortages here of materials. Of course, in the South, where those lumber yards are, if they're even existing up in the South up there, if they didn't get hit by the hurricane, you're going to be bringing stuff in. So out of us on the West Coast, you're not going to see as much of that, but we will see some shortages, especially when it comes into woods that come out of that area. So don't be surprised about that. those are issues that we see come up. And we'll see that not tomorrow, but it takes so long for people to get stuff rebuilt. Many times when homes are lost, it can take 6 months to a year just to get that being reconstructed. So we will see some housing shortages out there. We will see some of that stuff in those areas. And it's super, super sad for people like that. And I feel bad for you. I have a house around the corner here from our major windstorm that hit us in February, early February. And today, October 9th, I see them moving back into the house from where the trees landed on it. So they have been working on that house since February. Now it's set for probably 90 days with the insurance company trying to get out of it. These people had to move the house because the trees landed on the top. It literally lifted the roof off of it because the trees hit the edges of the trusses and it just completely damaged the top story. So they had to take that down to the studs and a lot of structural underneath it because we had big 150-year-old fir trees landing on it, which never a good thing. Happy everybody survived that. That's one thing we have in the Pacific Northwest with these big trees. They can cause some serious issues. So I've got a couple charities out there that we should keep in mind. My favorite one helps first responders and people in need, and that is Operation Barbecue Relief. I have volunteered with these guys before. I have cooked side by side with them down in their pit and worked in helping first responders. And check out Operation Barbecue Relief. They're the ones that are feeding the linemen, the rescue workers, the people that are in there volunteering. That is a great organization. Red Cross is also good. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the Red Cross at times, but they can put, a lot of people on the ground. And if you have your own your favorite religious charities out there, there's a lot of people doing good work out there, no matter what you believe in. This is by no means a religious thing here, but I've seen on the news groups like Samaritan's Purse and stuff where they throw in 40 people into somebody's house to dig out the mud. And that is stuff that people in there donating their time and helping. These are all good causes, and it is by no means an endorsement of mine. But anybody that's down there helping that is a legitimate organization trying to help people out, we should be supporting them. Some of these organizations that we see out there, the bigger ones, they do take a lot and have a lot of high overhead. So not a lot of the money goes, but one of those things, take a look, see what you feel comfortable donating and help who you can. Operation Barbecue Relief is one of those ones where almost all the money goes right into helping people out and keeping them fed. And that's a good thing to go just for all those people out there, because when they're on the ground, that means there's a massive need. And I'm sure they're pivoting trucks to head down to Florida right now while they're keeping people up in North Carolina to keep those guys going. And that's one thing I want to remind you here too, that's an important one. Just because we have a new shiny object in Florida, we need to make sure that we help see things through with the people in North Carolina, because those guys in South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, all you guys up there that are fighting this, make sure that these guys don't get forgotten, because they have some really big projects. Some of those road and infrastructure projects are going to take a year just to get back open, which means you might not be able to get in construction equipment stuff to help people out. So it's going to be a massive undertaking. It's going to take years to go back there. And there's a lot of talk about what's going on with FEMA out there. And I think it's a legitimate conversation that we need to be having of what's going on in FEMA. Where's the money going? I'd love to see an audit of that to see, because obviously if you go on the FEMA website, you can see that they do send money to these storms, but they are spending on other things. And that's right off the FEMA website. You can go over there and take a look for yourself and read it. I'm not going to spread all the stuff that's on it, but you can see it on their website of where they're spending money. And maybe it should be going into helping us out here in these disasters. I saw the other day that they found, $8 billion that are sitting in different funds that they can be pulling out. It's a good start at helping people out and getting them money in their hands to help get things going so they can be sustainable for themselves and their family. So those are things we should be working on. We got a great show coming up this weekend. I want you to not miss out on. We'll talk about that on probably Thursday and Friday on the show. And if there's more stuff happening like we did last week, we had an extra episode last week because of things that happened during the midweek special. And I will pop those out when I see fit. And we'll see what we can do with that when things come up to get you more information. And if there's something you want to see me talking about, guys, make sure and message me over at aroundthehouseonline.com. And I can help you out over there. And I will get back to you. I'll get back to everybody on that message over there. Unless you're a spammer, I don't get back to those. But everybody out there that needs help or has some questions, I'll be there to help you. Another update from last week as well. I am still dealing with Spectrum. Called them back, work with them. We'll call you back in 5 days. So then we wait 5 days to get back to them. They don't call me back. I have to wait 5 days again. So we're beyond the month to get a simple thing resolved with them. I'll give you updates as we go, and I'll let you know how that goes. Should be a simple thing, but I tell you what, I've never worked with a single company that has taken so long to get a simple accounting thing fixed than working with those guys. So I'll let you know what happens with Spectrum Cable as we get things up. Hopefully next week I'll have a better update for you. We'll see what happens. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. Let's support our neighbors as best we can through these troubled times here with the storms coming in, and pray for all those people out there that are in harm's way this week and have been for weeks as well. And whatever you believe in, I'll respect that. Thanks for tuning in to Around the House. We'll see you Saturday.
Somewhere unseen and undiscovered, anywhere beyond the mean. Life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio. Take my hand, I know where to go. All over the radio with you.
Hey guys, it's Eric G, and I have a special offer for you. Do you want to get the podcast a couple days early? How about extended content that isn't in the typical podcast? Maybe you want to check out all the back episodes of the show. And I got a special deal for the first 10 days are free. I want to personally invite you to be an Around the House insider. For about $4 a month, you can get exclusive extended episodes, early access to the weekend show, and exclusive access to me, Eric G, for project questions or comments. Check on the link on your podcast player in the show notes, or head to aroundthehouseonline.com and look for the join here button. Make sure and sign up today. As always, thanks for tuning in to Around the House.